How's it going, everyone? I'm Adam Molina. So if you want good sounding headphones, Beyerdynamic is usually a safe bet. The company has plenty of good headphones at a bunch of different price points, but if you wanted to go wireless, there weren't too many options. Now the company is taking a crack at Bluetooth with the Amiron wireless headphones, a wireless version of their Amiron headphones. But who are these for, and should you buy them? Let's find out. They're made basically entirely of metal, giving them a tough feel in the hand and an almost industrial design. The ear cups and the headband are both wrapped in a plush foam that's insanely comfortable. They're just soft enough to sit nicely on your head, but firm enough that if you're wearing them, they make an excellent seal to block outside noise. These aren't active noise canceling, but they do such a good job at passive isolation that they don't really need to be. The padding all around feels like it's wrapped in microfiber cloth or suede, which makes them super comfortable to wear for longer listening sessions. That said, I did find these to be a little too loose, and if I looked away too quickly or shook my head, this happened. As far as build quality is concerned, you don't have too much to worry about here. These are built beautifully, and I can't see them breaking easily or being crushed in a backpack. As much as I can appreciate the sturdy, durable metal build, I'm not the biggest fan of the overall design. As I mentioned, these are pretty large, but the silhouette makes them look even larger when you're wearing them. You can kiss any chance of blending into the people around you goodbye. These will make you stand out like a sore thumb, despite its minimal gray and darker gray aesthetic. Also, the metal that the headphones are made of take to oil and fingerprints pretty easily. So during testing, I did manage to make it to about 5 hours of constant playback before I felt like I had to take these off. And not because they're uncomfortable in any way, but just because they do get a little warm after a while, especially with summer on the way, so it's something to keep in mind if you're in warmer climates. But looks aside, the large size means that carrying them around is comfortable at best and impossible at worst, unless you have a bag. You can't fold these down or make them more compact in any way, and although the headphones swivel a bit to fit your head better, they don't rotate at all. So letting them drop to your neck isn't only uncomfortable, it's also impractical. So as far as how strong the actual Bluetooth connection is, I had absolutely no issues with these, as long as I stayed within the 30-foot range. I was cleaning my apartment the other day and was wearing these for about 2 hours and didn't have a single stutter or dropout. Functionally, these have a touchpad on the right ear cup, so you can control your music. It's also where you'll find all of the buttons and inputs. The left ear cup is just blank, save for the Beyerdynamic logo. The right ear cup has the power button / Bluetooth pairing button, a 3.5mm input, a USB Type-C input, and then the touch-sensitive pad on the side for controlling music playback. So the touch-sensitive part of the ear cup feels like it's also made of metal and almost feels like the trackpad on my MacBook Pro, though not as smooth. I did find that when you're switching between tracks or adjusting the volume, you did have to be a little more intentional with your movements, almost robotic, because if you did like a halfway swipe, it's just not going to register. You have to do a full swipe across. The controls allow you to skip between tracks by swiping left or right, fast forward or rewind by swiping and holding, and controlling volume with taps up or down, or swipes and hold. Yeah, it's a lot to remember. You can also pause or play music by double tapping the center of the pad and access the personal assistant on your phone by tapping once and then holding. It isn't rocket science, so after a while you will get used to it, but I'd be lying if I said it was intuitive. I actually had to go into the manual to check what all of the controls were because I couldn't figure them out on my own. On the bright side, you can adjust the sensitivity of the swipes in the app, which is good. Speaking of the app, it's probably the best one that I've ever used that comes with a pair of headphones. Now, these aren't the only headphones that come with apps, obviously, but these are the only ones that I've used where I feel like the app is actually useful and it's adding something to my experience. So during setup, you can take a quick hearing test that tests your left and right ear to see how much you can actually hear. All you have to do is press the button on the screen when you hear the beep. If you've ever taken a hearing test before at a doctor's office where the doctor makes you raise your left or right hand depending on when you hear the sound, this will be pretty familiar. After it's done, it adjusts the music accordingly so you get the full sound experience. Now, as we've mentioned plenty of times before, everyone hears differently, so Beyerdynamic taking steps to resolve that fact is great. So when it comes to Bluetooth codecs, Beyerdynamic didn't skimp out on anything here either. You'll get all of the best codecs currently available for higher quality streaming, save for Sony's LDAC because that's proprietary for Sony products. But you'll get Qualcomm's aptX, aptX HD, aptX LL for low latency, so when you're watching a YouTube video, it doesn't look like an old Kung Fu movie, AAC for Apple products, and of course SBC in case your source device has none of these, it can just default back down to those. I feel like I'm mentioning this in basically every review now, but if you want to learn more about Bluetooth codecs, Lily did a really great explainer piece, which I'll link in the description below. If you don't feel like going wireless, you can also just plug in the included 1.2 meter audio cable. Though to be fair, basically all of the testing I did was wireless, because that's kind of the whole point of these headphones existing. So Beyerdynamic doesn't specify exactly how long the battery life is, but they do mention that it's greater than 30 hours of constant playback. Now, I was skeptical, so I put it to the test, and in our testing, we got 26 hours of constant playback with music playing at 100%. And that was painfully loud. It isn't hard at all to see how these could go more than 30 hours if you're listening at regular volume. Now, I did have some nitpicky complaints about these headphones, mainly the design, but here is where all is forgiven, because these sound really, one more for emphasis, really good. The Beyerdynamic Amiron wireless headphones are a joy to listen to, and there were plenty of times during testing where I forgot to listen critically. I just ended up singing and dancing along to my favorite songs, which in my opinion is what makes a good pair of headphones great. So the drum kit at the beginning of the song Rillo Talk by Wild Child has the perfect amount of power and stays just as consistent throughout the entire song, even when the bass guitar and other elements find their way into the song. As you can probably guess from how I described these headphones earlier, they're pretty fun to listen to. The lower notes seem to have a bit of a bump that, while I wouldn't call these bass heavy, definitely give them a slight preference when compared to the mids. That's not to say that the mids are bad, in fact they're far from it. Everything going on throughout the song Holland Road by Mumford & Sons came through loud and clear, but that wasn't the case with every song. Songs that were more instrument-based seemed to have good spacing between instruments in the mids, but songs that were more electronic or synth-heavy didn't follow suit. For example, the vocals in the song Myself by J Mars were masked at times by the rolling synth throughout the song. On the bright side, hi-hats sounded great and were definitely helped by the fact that these headphones have a really impressive soundstage. I wouldn't go as far as saying that it sounded like there was a drum kit in the room, but compared to other Bluetooth headphones we've tried, the large ear cups definitely help give a sense of space when you're listening to your music. So in the end, the Amiron wireless headphones don't disappoint, and they fall right in line with the rest of Beyerdynamic's high-end headphones. But are they for you? Well, even though these are wireless, they're not exactly the best pair of headphones for walking around a city or commuting to work. Unless you have a bag to throw them in, or you don't mind looking like you have giant robot ears, or if you don't mind them occasionally slipping off your head if you turn too fast. But just like some of their open bag headphones we've reviewed, these are easy to recommend for anyone who wants clear sound and wants to enjoy listening to their music, have some fun with it. Unfortunately, there's still one pretty big hurdle to overcome if you want these. They cost $699, which makes them pretty hard to recommend to anyone that's not already fairly well off. Especially since there are other options like the Bose QC35 Series 2, which are way more portable, and the Sony WH-1000X Mark IIs, which are arguably the best all-around pair of wireless headphones, both of which cost about half the price of these. So yeah, there are other headphones out there that will give you a better bang for your buck and are a better value overall, but if you want the best sounding pair of Bluetooth headphones, these are hard to beat, even if they do make you look like you have robot ears. And that should do it for our review of the Beyerdynamic Amiron wireless headphones. Thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about audio or any of the other products we review, make sure to check out SoundGuys.com. While you're here, make sure to hit the subscribe button down there and also the notification bell so you'll be the first to know every time we upload a new video. And might as well follow us on social media. We have Twitter and Instagram at RealSoundGuys. I'm Adam Molina. I'll see you later.